Welcome everybody and welcome to another Kritika online video. My name is Wilky and we're back with some more PvE. I know I've been slacking on the PvP part, but keep in mind we still have 2 weeks left. So I'm sure we'll get to some PvP in a bit. Currently on my Shadow Mage I'm level 43 as you can see, so I did make some progress. I just did not want to spam as many PvE videos. As I said, the initial mission, if you want to call it that way, at the beginning, was basically just to get my channel a bit rolling again, and I think that worked quite well. Oh shit. And currently I'm basically on my way to figure out some of the system. I learned how the devotion system works now. I learned how the Ether Force system works now for high levels and things like that. So I'm basically making progress through the game, learning about mechanics and things like that, which is definitely what my initial goal is and was of playing a closed beta. I'm not interested in getting the best gear. I'm not interested in grinding 24/7 in order to get the best gear by end of closed beta. Why is this guy not dying? Okay. So basically what I can tell so far though is that there seems to be a huge disparity between classes. Maybe Doomblade is one of the best PvE classes, and Shadow Mage might be one of the worst ones. I'm not entirely sure if I literally just found one of the biggest, I guess, disparities in the game, because really compared to my Doomblade, my Shadow Mage does not hit, really he doesn't hit as hard, he does not have that many frames, he doesn't have that many ultra breaks. Generally, it just is a lot more difficult to clear at even a similar speed to what my Doomblade was clearing. And keep in mind that now I do have a bit of experience with the game already, whereas with my Doomblade I basically started afresh. And yeah, but as far as I'm concerned, Doomblade seems to be one of the most viable classes, so I guess I just had the right pick at the beginning. And Shadow Mage, it is definitely fun, I really enjoy it, but I just see how much longer I take in order to kill mobs, in order to kill bosses, so that's a bit of a downside. And so far that I've learned that the new classes, once they will be released, it just really, like, it's nothing new. I think everybody who plays MMORPGs these days knows how that works, is that whenever they release a new class, like the developers and the publishers, I think they're probably both knowing what they're doing in that regard, is usually these new classes are stronger than they should be, or like stronger compared to the rest, and there's a simple reason for that, or two reasons for that. First of all, they want to give you an incentive to play a new class because you have to catch up, you're at the disadvantage because the class is new. And obviously, somebody who's playing a class from the very get-go of the game is naturally going to have more time to gear up and stuff like that. So naturally, these classes will be a bit stronger. And the other thing is, they obviously want you to go spending money again. Like, oh, there's a new class, oh, I want a new outfit, oh, I want to expand his inventory, I want to expand his bank. All those things really is ultimately, from an economical standpoint, makes a lot of sense to do it that way. And I don't really have an issue with that as long as they don't go like C9 did and they release Battlemate that just completely breaks the game in any shape or form. Like, as long as they don't do that, I'm really happy, and that makes me happy because they said they wanted to balance the base game first, so we're not gonna see any of these new classes. I'm not, maybe by launch we will already have them, but seeing as they said they want to balance the base game first, it makes me believe that they will probably not release any of the new classes that are currently available in Korea and I think China at the very beginning of the game, which is really, really good, because right now we have 11 classes, which is plenty. I mean, I think there's mostly for everybody something. Sure, there could be more, and those of you who played on the any other versions, they might be, oh, I want to play this class, I want to play that class, and I understand that, which is one of the reasons why I do not want to try any of the other versions, because I might actually go for the monk, because I usually, as I said, I really like unarmed combat. So there might be a very good chance that I will play monk and really like it, and then I'm back to our version, and it's like, well, I can't play monk, so I have to play something else before monk comes out. And usually I don't really like when that happens. So for now I'm really happy, and I'm probably not gonna try any of the other versions, simply to not spoil myself. As also because we have a different system. As I said, the rest point system is different in our version. There's other differences. Our dungeons seem to be a lot harder from what I've learned. Apparently on the Southeast Asian server, dungeons are not nearly as hard, and insane dungeons are very easy to clear, whereas well, it's not that it's hard to clear, but we can die very easily, and we take quite a bit of time to clear them. So they actually did a good job of ramping up the difficulty, so it doesn't just like you're blasting through the dungeon without any trouble at all. And also basically giving you a bit of a more reward for the revamped rest point system. So all in all, I think these changes are really good, because these dungeons, at least the ones I've played so far, did not seem too terribly hard. I haven't done the PvE arena yet, so that's something I will have to check out on my Doomblade, because that's available from level 60 onwards. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna play the Shadow Mage until 65. Probably not. I'm definitely gonna get him to 50 and see what his awakening is gonna be like, so I actually get the full, or almost the full experience of the class. And then obviously I'm gonna try some PvP at level 50 or so, at which point I should have the majority of skills. So I should be more or less set for PvP. Other than that, as I said, the devotion system, I figured out how to work. Basically, there's two devotion systems, which is, the one is a bit, well, not awkward, but the one is a bit unusual, I guess. And I'll talk about that once I'm done with the dungeon. Basically, there's two devotion systems. So there's two systems that will allow you to get account-wide boosts for any of your characters, but they do work in a bit of a different manner. Like, one of them, they both called the same way. I think that's maybe a translation issue, or maybe that's intended. I'm not entirely sure. Basically, there's two systems. The one system is based off your rest points. So every time you spend rest points, you'll fill up the gauge or the bar that will give you bonuses for all of your characters on your account, but that will reset every day. So every day at reset, which is for Europeans in GMT +2, it's 1500, which is 3 p.m. So for those of you, every time at 1500 in the afternoon, your devotion bar, your daily devotion bar resets. And I'm gonna show you what this looks like. It's that little thingy that says level directly next to my HP bar. These things, as you can see, after you spend 130 rest points on any character, it doesn't matter if it's a high level character, it doesn't matter if it's a max level character, you can even make a level 1 character and just blast through something. You will get these bonuses, and these are not additive, so the first one is 200 attack, and the second one gives you another 50 attacks. They don't stack, they just improve. And the other devotion system is if you go to your inventory, and that's, I'm not sure, it's a bit weirdly written, because it says buff strength depends on the total rest points expanded across all characters. And that bar, how it fills up, is if I level up my character, if my Shadow Mage is gonna hit 44, I'm gonna add 44 points to that bar. So I'm gonna be left with 210 devotion buff strength. So this is how it works. So it seems that you have to level up multiple characters in order to level up that account-wide devotion buff. And you can also see that devotion buff if you're in the character selection screen, so it actually displays on top of that. So you pretty much always know what type of bonuses you can get. And to be honest, like, this one is very easy to get. 130 rest points probably takes an hour or two, so that's not too much. But the account-wide or permanent devotion buff, the last one seems pretty neat. I mean, sure, 300 HP, MP, 200 attack doesn't seem like a lot, but 5% drop rate? That actually seems quite tempting. I mean, sure, 5% is not a lot, but you gotta see it from that perspective, that as soon as you get those 5%, those will be there forever. So any dungeons you're gonna be running on your main, on any of your alt characters, it doesn't matter, you're gonna have a 5% increase of drops. So I'm not sure if that applies to gold, or just the drop rate, or just in general the drop quality, but still, it's a permanent boost that you can get for your account, so I think that's really cool. However, that's probably not something you're gonna be unlocking within a day or two. Like, as I said, starting level 40, every level afterwards, I received these points. I mean, we're just gonna add those things that those numbers are up, and you'll see where I got those 166 points from. Other than that, as I said, I'll definitely try out the Raging Berserker, or I think Raging Berserker, or anything. Berserk really is what the class is called that I'm gonna try out. Then I'm most likely gonna be trying out the Rogue base class. I'm not sure. Probably gonna be Assassin. The Cat Girl, I don't know. It seemed a bit possibly could be annoying with all the meows and meows around. So I'm not entirely sure if that's really a class I want to play. And then I'm obviously gonna also play Reaper, which is most likely going to be Valkyrie. I'm not even sure why they call it Valkyrie, but yeah. As I said, this is some Shadow Mage PvE. As you can see, plays vastly different from my Doomblade, which, I mean, it's good that it's obviously quite different, but it kind of worries me that basically the clear speed is so much different between those characters. It kind of worries me that some classes will have a lot of trouble actually farming and clearing, whereas others will have the edge. But then again, we're used to that from pretty much any other action RPG, that some classes just really excel in PvE, and others are just downright bad. So, as I said, this devotion buff is 166. So, starting level 40, I got 40 points. At 41, I added another 41 points, so I was at 81 points. Then, when I hit 42, I was at 123 points, and once I hit 43, it added up to 166 points. So, this is apparently how you level up that buff. And as you can see, in total I have to get 1,365 points to get the next level. I'm not sure if the amount of points is gonna increase, and I'm not entirely sure what things are. What I'm gonna try in the closed beta is what happens if I delete a character. Do these points stay, or will they be reverted or something like that? Those are all the mechanics I want to figure out in the future. Other than that, we're just gonna hop into the character select for a second. As I said, if you're going to go for the character selections at the top, you'll be presented with the buff you're currently having on all of the characters, so that's quite cool. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed another Shadow Mage PvE video. As I said, level 50 is my current goal, and then some PvP. Other than that, I still have some PvE content I have to check out, and there will be definitely footage of at least two. I'm probably going to fill up the character slots I have with, as mentioned, the Berserker, one of the Rogues, and the Valkyrie. And depending on how much time we have left, I'll basically go on a testing rampage, spend all of my gold, figure out rates, and things like that. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed another Kritika Online video, and as always, if there's anything else you want to see, feel free to let me know, and hopefully see you guys next time.